what are some experiences you're like, wow, like I wish I could have done this differently, or like mistakes that you wish you wouldn't have made?
I had such a game plan to not launch in like winter of COVID. I think I got one like cyberbully comment ever.
Wow.
And I literally responded and said, I'm not famous enough for you to I'm not famous enough to have a hater. Like
we get a couple trolls in the comments.
We do. We just delete them real quick.
Yeah, we just delete them.
What are some of your favorite horror movies?
If you've never seen Sinister, add it to your list.
That one messed me up. And there was a scene in there where the dude chops up the other guy's legs off and puts them on a meat hook.
I was the director of rituals at one point.
It's like the Illuminati almost, you know? Like,
yeah.
It is.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Untapped Potential Podcast, where we interview visionaries from the Pacific Northwest. Today's episode is with Alexa McNeal, owner of Bold Beach Swimwear, a body-positive and adjustable swimwear brand for all.
In this episode, we talked about the importance of body inclusivity and building a swimwear brand during the pandemic.
We also talk about Alexa's favorite Halloween horror films in honor of spooky season.
And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. Let's get into the episode.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Untapped Potential Podcast. Today we have Lex McNeal. Welcome, Lex.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys. I feel honored.
Absolutely, yeah, we feel honored too, having another female business figure in our midst here.
Yeah, I know. When I was looking at your guys' page on Instagram, I was like, am I one of the few? Am I special?
You are, and you know, Bold Beach Swim, you know, that's so awesome what you're doing, you know, adjustable swimwear. Where did that idea start?
Yeah. So kind of, I'm going to try and make a long story short, but basically growing up, my weight has always fluctuated and I have known how to sew from like a really young age. So I would spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars on swimsuits, and then I would take them home and cut the band size and adjust it to fit the cup size and everything like that. So I'd basically just redesign them on my own and make sure that they could fit perfectly, unless you're getting like a string bikini, which I would say is naturally adjustable, but isn't comfortable on every body type. So one day I kind of just started designing ideas where I was like, this would be cool if this had this feature in there. Or like, there's a suit I have called the Baywatch. And I was like, there's no type of support or anything in there. Everything just like mashes you down, basically. I was like, unless you're Pamela Anderson. So I was like, how can I fix this and tweak this? So I started designing one day, and I just wanted to make sure that every single suit had some kind of an adjustable feature to fit your band size, your cup size, and then your waist. So I want to say like maybe a little bit before COVID, like a year or two, I had put in the work and reached out to manufacturers. Kind of a longer process than that, of course.
Sure.
But I just took that idea and I whipped up like a little mock suit. By no means was it like able to be sold or anything, but it was the Every Which Way, which is my first suit I ever made. And I took a picture of myself in it and I posted on Instagram, and I had like over 25 different DMs being like, where can I buy that? And so that was kind of where I was like, okay, I can actually do something with this. I thought it was just going to be for me at first, where I was like, I'll just make my own swimwear for myself. And then I was like, I can make a business out of this. And I'm like, there's so many other women out there that have the same struggle as I do, where they can't find a swimsuit that flatters their body. So
that's awesome. Have you always had this creative kind of aspect to yourself, or was this kind of just spawned based on that need that you saw for swimwear?
No, I don't think I ever saw myself in swimwear, because growing up, I was really insecure about my body and I hated swimsuits. And so I don't think I ever would have imagined myself to be in swimwear, but it's a necessity for me because I love hot weather and I love to go swimming. So I was like, all right, I got to make this work. But my creativity probably started like from a really young age. I have always known that I was into fashion. I always was playing dress up. I was always trying to have my grandma teach me how to sew. I even went to school at WSU for fashion. So I knew from a young age that I was going to do that. But for being an entrepreneur, it was kind of until I got out of college where I was like, it seems like everybody's being a buyer or everybody is working sales if you have a fashion degree. And so I was like, I just don't see myself fitting into either of those. And I really like the idea of being my own boss. I like being in control. Like, it's hard for me to delegate tasks. Like, even as a kid, our like make-believe games would be like, I'm the boss and we're going to go to work today.
And you were always the boss.
And I was always the boss.
Yeah. I want to ask you about your experience at WSU. Did you feel like getting an education in fashion prepared you to do this, or was this something that you feel like you could have done outside of school?
Oh, that's a tough one. So my major is actually in apparel merchandising instead of design, which is kind of hilarious because now I fully just design, and I actually hate like the merchandising part of it.
So
But
what's the merchandising part for those that
so
don't
that's
know?
like more of like the math and the Excel sheets and everything. That means you would want to kind of go into more of a buying role.
Gotcha.
But I really like the creative aspect. So, and I can't wait until I can hire someone else to take care of the other parts of that so I can just be creative. But yeah, I think at WSU, like the fashion community is really small and you kind of know everybody in your classes, which is great. But I would say like my biggest takeaway from WSU with fashion is maybe just that like it's good to just have the prior knowledge of everything. Because if I went into this, I would be like, I don't even know how sales work. I don't even know how an Excel sheet works. I don't know anything about how to do merchandise math, right? But because I went to school, I do know those things. So it helped me be an entrepreneur and a business owner. But besides that, I would say like my biggest resource from WSU is probably she was my advisor, and she's like, it's truly all about the people you know and your connections that you make, because she's always throwing out different ideas and we still stay in contact. So
that's awesome to have that mentorship,
yeah,
especially
absolutely.
starting a business like that. It's a big venture.
Yes.
I want to talk about like your experiences, like looking back on it, because you started this in 2019, I believe. Now that it's 3 years later, fast forward, like what are some experiences you're like, wow, like I wish I could have done this differently, or like mistakes that you wish you wouldn't have made?
Yeah. I mean, I had such a game plan to not launch in like winter of COVID.
Yeah.
Ideally for a swimwear
Yeah.
line, that's a no. But I took the whole quarantine and COVID period of 2020 where like everything was shut down as a time to just be like, I'm gonna hustle and the world has stopped, but like I still have a business, so I can still get all of my designs done, get the manufacturing done, everything like that. So yes, it was postponed a lot, but at that point I was like, I've done so much advertising and are always asking me about like, when are these swimsuits going to be ready? That I was like, we live in Washington, we live in Seattle. We already know it's rainy all the time. I might as well like just launch them now, and at least people can sit on them until summer kind of thing. Or if vacations happen, they didn't, it was COVID, but so I don't know. I would probably, I'm not going to say I would wait another year for launching because there's no perfect time to launch.
Right.
Like launch quick and then adjust later is something from another podcast that I always think about. And I'm like, that's true. You're never going to be perfect. So just get your product out there and you'll learn from your mistakes. But I think one of my big things that I've learned is do more fashion shows. I think the press and the media from that's really important. And spend more time in places that are sunny. Like, for example, I feel like I get the most done when I go to LA or California because they have the fashion district there. I just hired a sales rep that I have there now. I have a showroom there, and I'm seeing so much more progress than if I was here. And again, that's just because of the fact that I sell swimsuits, and Washington's not really a place where you're wearing a swimsuit 24/7. So,
Right. What's been your experience with the kind of clothing scene here in Seattle or the Seattle area?
yeah, I never did any of like the Seattle Fashion Week or anything like that. Um, it's nice because I don't have a lot of competition when it comes to swimsuits for Seattle. There's very few of us. Um, Yeah, I wouldn't really say I'm that big in the Seattle fashion scene. Like I do sell through the Kira Collective. They were actually like my first pop-up. They're really supportive. I look to Kiko as the owner as someone who's really inspiring to me, and she actually gave me a lot of advice in starting a business and was kind of like the first person that was like, "Okay, we'll do a pop-up here and see how it goes." So I do sell my swimsuits through them, but I don't really do a lot of wholesale here in Seattle besides that.
And who are they for those that don't know? The Courier Collective?
Kira Collective.
Courier Collective.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Oh,
And who
cool.
are they for those that don't know? Kind of what
So
exactly
they're
do they
like a
do?
sustainable small business in Seattle
Oh,
where
wow.
they only carry sustainable fashion and they do wholesale. And they're always bringing in new products and hosting like different events and everything. But they're very like all natural, give back, just the type of company you'd want to be associated with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's
Really
awesome.
quick, you mentioned you went to WSU, and I don't want to glance over that because Chris and I both went there. We actually got
Yes.
Mike Leach back here, a little
If
bobblehead.
you noticed the
I did
bobblehead.
notice that. All
So
right.
I just wanted to ask you, and we talked a little bit about it before we started
Yeah.
recording, but what was your experience at WSU like?
Yeah. So at WSU, I was in the sorority Delta Gamma. And I would say just overall, I loved school. I did. I would say like I would go to WSU because of the fact that you really have to make friends with people on campus because it's not like UW where you can go out to bars and like you
Right.
really have like a community there. So I love the sense of community. I'm happy I joined a sorority because I made a lot of friends through my sorority. I also understand like the stigmas that sororities have, and it is really exclusive. And I totally see all of the negatives that come with that as well, and as well with frats too. Like I was telling you earlier, I was like, I would never have my boyfriend join a frat because I wouldn't want him to get hazed. And I'm a protective big sis in general. So I'm like, I don't know, that would be scary. But I had a good experience there. I haven't gone back to visit yet because I'm not really a diehard college fan, to be honest.
I
I'm
feel
kind
that.
of like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
college was great at the time.
hmm
And I had a great major and I spent as much time studying and partying as I could. So I'm kind of like, college is over now. I don't need to go back and relive those days, you know?
You kind of get it all out of your system, right?
Yeah.
What
And the people I still want to hang out with, I still keep in contact with and everything like that. So,
Mhm.
Right.
What was your favorite Wazoo memory?
oh boy. This is like really after I'm just like, I understand how sororities are bad at the same time, but I did cheer growing up. And so I liked all of the recruitment days where
Mm.
it'd be like you'd be clapping and cheering. And I liked singing all of the songs. And I was the director of rituals at one point. So I like the secrecy of it. But I was kind of telling you before this that I am like a big like horror fan and everything like that. So I was like, ooh, it's
That's
like
right.
kind of creepy at the
Right.
same time.
That's awesome.
So
It's like the Illuminati almost, like
Yeah,
it
that type
is
of
like I
stuff.
hate the exclusivity, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh, it's so creepy. And like at the same time, I don't know. I just like, I think it's cool that we still keep on these traditions and we still say the
Yeah.
same chants and that is like where I'm like, oh, it's like, it makes it a really special thing.
I want to go back to your brand, specifically like the marketing side of it in 2022. Like for you to like build brand awareness, you mentioned fashion shows is something you want to do or do more of.
Yeah.
Like what are all the other things that you have to do to like build that awareness to people that people may not see?
Yeah. I mean, I would say one of my strong suits is I love meeting people in person and telling them about the brand. Like that's where I really feel like I shine is that because I used to be the assistant manager for like a Free People, or I've always done retail things and like been the
Mm.
salesperson. So I really like talking to people and having these pop-up shops and everything and meeting new faces and
Right.
telling them about the brand and building a connection. Like I love doing that. And I do that a lot through my DMs as well, where I'm just like, I'll repost someone in a swimsuit as much as I can because I feel like everybody deserves to be seen and everybody deserves to be a model. But right now, I think I'm kind of giving the reins over to my social media manager and focusing on that side, because as much as I want to say like, yeah, the pop-ups are bringing in everybody, you know, like right now you really can't do anything as far as branding or meeting new people, it feels like, and getting your brand out there besides through social media.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just hired a social media manager. I'm excited about that. She basically was pretty real with me on the phone, and I was like, just tell me what to do. Tell me that I need to redo the whole entire thing, and I will. So yeah.
What does like a social media manager do other than like collaborate with you on like social media posts and stuff like that?
Yeah, so she basically helped organize like a photo shoot.
Okay.
And the way that my account is set up right now is very much, I feel like, how my mind works, which is I'm like, this is a great idea. Let's just put it out there. And nothing is cohesive, I would say. Am I still, again, like still getting followers and meeting so many great people? Absolutely. Still talking to people about my swimsuits? Yes. Like, I think I've made it really clear to everybody that follows my page that this is a community. I want your feedback. If you think that something should be tweaked about a swimsuit, I want to hear it too. And I actually like take all of that into consideration when I'm designing the next suit. But she helps as far as just like, she's going to basically do like a social media clean out where she cleans everything out that doesn't make sense, makes it look cohesive, makes sure that I'm going to be popping up on Google. Like I know right now I'm kind of hard to Google, right? Just all of the back end things that you wouldn't really think about, because you're just like, oh, as long as I can post a picture and get some likes, it's so much more than that. And I don't have that knowledge that she has, you know? So
right. A lot of us would just like try to throw everything out there and like see what sticks, and you end up wasting so much time that way, you know? And it's like a huge learning experience, especially with us.
For sure.
We've gone through like, this is our 4th season with the podcast, and we've gone through a little like a couple of like big changes with how like we strategize and everything, but it's always so different. Like one month it's one thing, and then social media like changes so rapidly, it's like the next thing. And
we're talking about that too, how the algorithm's always changing. So you could have a strategy that works, but it's not going to work 3 months from now or 6 months from now. So you always got to be growing.
We were just talking about how it's like, if you're not the first on the audio, then if you're not first, you're last, you know, for the audios. Like right now it's corn, and then like next week it's something else. So I'm just like, it's hard to keep up. Also, I'm like, we're not the ripe TikTok age.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, it's hard. It's hard. It frustrates me. And I wish it was easier, but I also understand. So
going back to hiring people, you know, your business is your baby, right? So how do you deal with that kind of trusting someone else, like coming into your business?
That's easy. I just don't hire anybody.
You just, but with hiring the social media.
I'm totally joking. She is like, maybe, I mean, I really don't have many people that work for me. I have a good support system of family and friends, so they'll volunteer from time to time, especially when I need help with pop-ups. But I kind of just hire people as I need them. Like when in the very beginning, my first hire, I would say, was I had an intern. She was from WSU. Her name was Madison Norman. To give her a shout out, she was amazing. But she actually helped design. Like I would give her the designs, and again, I'm not an actual designer, so it's not like I'm giving her these perfect, beautiful drawings. She would look at my drawings and put together some kind of a suit that resembled that, and we would work from there. So she really helped with the design process and actually like sewing the styles and everything. She was a huge part of the beginning for me. And then she went to college, and we still keep in touch. So she's not really doing the design anymore, because once I've given the designs to the manufacturers, they were kind of able, all my suits are kind of based off of one specific style, and we kind of go from there fit wise, basically. So I hired her, and I did that basically because I was like, I really want to hire someone who is coming up in design, and like I really like the idea of, because I wouldn't be where I am right now unless people just gave me a chance kind of on a whim, or like saw something in me, basically. And so for me, I was like, she's a really hard worker, and I want to support someone who's from WSU in the fashion world, right? So that was kind of what I did for her. But then as it's gone on, again, like I'll just use social media and I'm like, hey, I really need help with this. And I go through the DMs and have phone call interviews with people and kind of see who seems like they are going to be the best fit with me. So the only person that's hired for me right now is a sales rep in LA, and then her name is Catrice, and she's the social media manager. And that was pretty recent. That was like hard for me to be like, okay, I need to now put money into social media. I was like, I put money into so many things, but so
yeah, it feels like you're kind of like throwing water on a flame, and it just keeps going, almost trying to start a business,
Exactly. And I think that's where I get so focused on like the fun parts of it and like the creative parts where I'm like, oh, I completely forgot that like I might not be like my social media game isn't as good as it was before because I just am trying to handle every single part of the business on my own, it feels like.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the manufacturer's piece of it. I know that working with manufacturers, especially overseas, and like the long lead times that they have can be a pretty scary experience, especially because oftentimes you have to like put a big deposit in before you see any product. And I've heard some horror stories about people getting like they're paying for one thing, and $20,000 later they get a box of something that they didn't even order.
Yeah.
What was your experience with manufacturers? Have you had any horror stories like that?
I am really, really lucky that I haven't had a horror story.
That's good.
But I also don't have my manufacturers overseas because I was scared of those horror stories. And also, I am not, the thing about my swimsuits is they're not like a typical size 2 for a 6 foot tall fit model that you would assume, right? So I'm the fit model for my suits. So I knew if I went overseas, imagine shipping that one sample suit back and forth overseas for me to just try on and be like, it still doesn't work. And then I didn't want to hire a fit model somewhere else because these are very unique to, I feel like, to my body as being like the one that I base all of the suits off of. And I had a vision. So I kind of started just cold calling places in California. For some reason, I'm just like so set on California that I was like, okay, I want them to be there. I want these suits to be US made and US manufactured. I want to source materials from the US because as a whole, we're all moving towards sustainability. So I knew that was going to be important. And I'm really grateful because during COVID, everything kind of fell through if you were getting your stuff manufactured overseas.
Right.
So very lucky again that I decided to go in California, but I kind of just cold called and would compare the prices and then also would compare the people's attitudes over the phone, honestly. And I was like, ooh, do they seem like they want to work with an entrepreneur that's just trying to figure it out? Or are they kind of like know your work right now, So I landed on a really great one and I'm super lucky because they honestly, like, I can't thank them enough. They listen to all my crazy ideas. And if I have to send a suit back and forth like over 10 times, they do it. And I'm really grateful that I found them. So
that's awesome. Because I know oftentimes too, like I would be trying, because I have a brand that I started before the podcast, and I would try to call folks and they wouldn't even give me the time of day.
yeah.
Because your orders weren't like, you're not like a Nike or, an Adidas or something. So yeah, sometimes just getting the attention of these folks, even though like you're trying to give them money, it becomes like a pulling teeth almost.
Yeah, they get very picky choosy. And if you don't sound like you know what you're talking about, which I definitely fall in that category sometimes, then they just shoo you away, basically. So
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, for those that aren't familiar with your brand, what are some of the adjustments in your swimsuits?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had to represent. I'm actually wearing a suit right
Nice.
now, of course.
Yeah.
Basically, I try to make sure that all of the straps, you can unhook it in the back if you wanted to crisscross it. They have the adjustable feature. You can extend these, tighten these. And then the band size, a lot of them will have snaps or some kind of hook feature in the back. So you can adjust it to your band size, which is nice because I feel like in general, when I'm shopping for a swimsuit that doesn't have that feature, I have to get maybe a large, but the band doesn't fit. So it's like I have to settle for either the band fitting or the cup fitting, and we shouldn't have to settle. It should be easy, especially since we're expected to wear like this much clothing on the beach to run around.
Right.
But I have a suit, the Every Which Way that I was talking about as well. You can wrap it in over 15 different ways.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, can we, is it, I'm assuming it's on your website, right?
It is. Like, for example, the tie one down there that we're looking at, the pink one, the top is adjustable because you can just tie it as tight as you need. The bottoms as well, you can cinch them up a little bit more. The Influencers, one of the suits that I was talking about that has the adjustable bands and then the hook in the band or the hook in the back as well. And it comes in 2 different bottoms, so you can do a skimpy or you can do a more coverage. I feel like a lot of my suits, I would say, are on the more coverage side in general. Like, I don't think I have too many that are straight up thong bikinis, right?
Gotcha,
but yeah, I try to make as many one pieces as I can 2 pieces, so it's pretty equal.
Yeah.
And I really love designing one pieces. I feel like there's like definitely a lot you can do with that. And in general, like, I know that I love to throw on a one piece when I'm not feeling like, maybe I ate a huge meal and I'm not feeling my most confident.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I don't want to wear a string bikini on the beach.
Right.
I'm going to throw on a one piece, but I feel like it should still be like sexy and cute and have cutout features. So then the Miami down there as well, it's like a corset waist and then the band or the straps you can cinch. Yeah.
Got a couple oohs in the back.
Darcy's about to click buy
I
right
know.
by
I'm
now.
like, go ahead, and you're just gonna want to add that discount code in. The Baywatch, yeah, that's the exact one I was talking about. Where I was saying, if you don't have Pamela Anderson's figure, you can still wear this one because I put a built-in bra inside.
Oh, cool.
That lifts the girls. So,
oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of different adjustments. And I like how you kind of
Yeah.
incorporate it so the adjustments just are so seamless and also stylish. You know, that takes a lot of creativity.
Thank
Which
you.
swimsuit are you the most proud of?
Yeah.
Oof. Everybody always asks me this. I'm gonna say the Every Which Way because I'm loyal and she's my day one.
The Every Which Way. You want to pan to that one?
Yeah, it's right there. The 4th one over.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I like her so much that I am going to continue to make the Every Which Way
Nice.
a part of each and every
Oh,
Wow,
that's
you
awesome.
have
I didn't know you
videos
had
on
a
how to
video.
style
here.
and stuff.
have a little video.
Oh, that's cool. I've never seen
That's
that.
really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you said this was one of your first designs?
This was the
Oh,
first
the
design.
first design.
Yeah.
Wow.
This was the one
Oh,
that I
wow.
posted on Instagram, and everybody reached out and said, I want it. And so
That's
I was
super
like,
cool.
I got to make them for everybody.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you know, Chris has been in the clothing game. I have not. So I'm going to ask very amateur questions here.
Okay.
But how do you like decide which designs go through and actually go into production versus the ones that just get scrapped?
Honestly, a lot of it has to do with timing. Like, I'm so that person that's like, I wait until I wait until like a few months before I actually need the suits, and I'll be like, oh, I need this suit now, like blah blah blah. And if they send it back to me and we're just not able to communicate,
do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
virtually, because I'm not in person with my manufacturers all the time. So if they send the suit back to me and I keep sending it back and forth and we're just not able to like land on a suit that I'm happy with, then I'll scrap it and be like, I have to work on that a little more. I actually did that like my first time around, where I was like, this just is not what I envisioned in my head. And we can't both like come to a good agreement on it. So I did a little bit more like research, and also just started, I always like will go to Joann's on my own and grab fabric and create my little own mock-ups, and then try and send it to the manufacturers as well to be like, this is what I'm looking for, but
Nice.
better.
Yeah.
But you guys sew it. So yeah, I that's kind of how I decide. But I always try and do at least, like, if I'm gonna add new suits, I'm gonna try and add them in pairs. So I won't add just an extra 2-piece. I'll add a 2-piece and a 1-piece because I like to give people the option.
Yeah.
So And then trunks are completely new and they're kind of their own.
Yeah,
I
let's
feel
pan to
like
the
they're their own
trunks.
thing right now, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you got stuff for everybody here. Gonna pan to the trunks really quick.
Yeah, I need more
Oh,
pictures of the
cool.
trunks online. So I decided when I started designing trunks, I was like, okay, what do I know that someone who would like to wear trunks, what would they want? And I was like, basketball shorts. I was like,
Yeah.
guys love basketball shorts.
Yeah.
They just
Yeah.
do. And I was like, and comfortability and pockets and a drawstring and like an elastic waist, like just super comfy, feels like basketball shorts. And I can honestly say, like, because I've worn the lifeguard shorts on my own as well. They're the shorter ones. They're about like half thigh. And then I would say the surfer ones are more for if you're actually surfing. They're a board short.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
But the lifeguard, I always am like, you have to get the lifeguard short if you're going to get anything. The material actually feels like just like a thicker version of basketball shorts. It's really nice.
Wow.
Oh, and no netting.
No,
Oh, yeah, I like
nice.
that.
No netting.
I
I
like
like
I
that,
got
yeah.
you.
It's chafing.
So, so where can people buy your stuff? So for sure the website, right?
Yes.
Where else?
For sure, the website. If you're in Seattle, you should definitely go into the Cura Collective. I don't know if they have them. I don't know if they keep them year round. Online, they have them year round.
Nice.
Cura Collective carries the Every Which Way and the Miami. I usually just sell through online. A lot of the times people reach out through social media and be like, hey, you live in Seattle, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, can you drop a suit off? And I'll also buy it online. There should be an option as well when you go to the checkout that says, bought in person. And I have
gotcha.
no problem making a little drive and just dropping it off at someone's house because it's easier for the both of us.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you live in Seattle, you're lucky enough to have me drop it off at your house.
That's cool.
If not,
That's awesome. Same
Yeah.
day shipping?
what'd you say?
Same day shipping?
Same day.
That's exactly what it is.
Nice. No,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And
yeah.
and it's nice because I have my storage unit is just like filled to the brim with all of my like organized boxes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, cool.
yeah. So it's nice because some people are like day of, they do really need it, and I can just drive over and give it to them, which is nice. So
That's
awesome.
awesome.
yeah.
Speaking about customers, I know for a fact the customer is not always right. And I want to talk about some of the experiences with, maybe not the best customer that you've had. Do you have any of those experiences?
I mean, like if I can't even get into how the customer's not always right. I have like a few. I would never say that the customer's not right from what I've experienced having my own business so far. But I would say one thing that like many people don't know that I fully can say, like Scout's honor, I swear that this is true, is that if you are putting on one of my swimsuits and you are trying to make it cover your butt fully instead of just wearing it where it should naturally sit on your hips, it does not make it look more flattering. So my advice, and I always tell this to like, I'm going to throw my mom under the bus. I always tell my mom, I love her, but like I always tell her, I'm like, hike it up. Because the more high cut something is going to be and the more high rise, the more of an hourglass shape it's going to give you. And people will try to pull it down a little bit. And no, you need to make sure that you're getting it elongates your legs. Like you can even see on the picture right there of me laying down.
Yeah.
It looks like I have legs for days. I don't, but it looks like I have legs for days. And then the high rise, like it just hides everything that you don't want out. Or again, speaking for myself, but that's how I feel. And I really do believe like when I see pictures, I'm like, keep it high cut, like don't pull it down. So that's when I would say the customer is wrong, is when they want to like cover up a little bit more by pulling the suit down.
Yeah.
But besides that, I really do have I've never gotten a negative feedback or a negative comment. I think I got one like cyberbully comment ever.
Oh, wow.
And I literally responded and said, I'm not famous enough for you to I'm not famous enough to have a hater. Like,
right.
step down, and they deleted
That's
it.
funny.
So
Oh, they
That's
actually deleted
funny.
it.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
good.
wow, you got him then.
When we
I
start
was.
getting hate mail, we'll reach out to Lex.
Please.
We get
I
a
got
couple
you.
trolls in the comments.
We
but-
do. We just delete them real
Ew.
quick.
Yeah, we just delete them.
I couldn't help myself. I had to respond. I was like,
You
I
had
never
to.
get a troll. I'll never have this. I was like, I might not have this experience again. I will,
That's
but
a good.
That's funny. Is your plan to open like a retail store eventually?
no,
Okay.
I really want to move towards wholesale. I like the idea of not, I think it's because I worked in retail so much
Right.
that I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know if I want to have a store and
So many
do all of
problems with
that.
it too, you know?
you have to pay rent.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's just another cost. And so
right.
I really am happy with my online store, and I am happy to move more into wholesale. And then maybe even, I already work with small quantities, but maybe even do more of like, in the future, I'd like to see myself just doing a pre-sale or like a pre-order. And then those are the only suits that I produce. So if you
Oh,
did
I
not
see.
sign up for the pre-order, that's it. Or even just
Yeah.
like one pop-up shop. I want to limit the amount of extra suits I have on hand,
Yeah.
basically. So
That makes sense.
yeah,
Is your goal as like we get into fall, is your goal to like just be completely out of inventory, or is it just to keep like a small amount during the winter times? How does that work for you?
I like to keep a small amount. And also we're
Yeah.
like, you would think that I wouldn't be making sales in the fall, but like I'm making sales in the fall because people are planning their next vacation to get out of
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
the cold weather. So I'm still making sales. So it's nice that I have product on hand. But I think I also use that product to send as sample suits to potential buyers,
Oh,
right?
okay.
If they want to see and feel the product in person.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, being that it's October,
Yeah.
when we release this episode, we want to ask you, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
I'm really excited.
Should we
about
turn
this
down the lights for
question.
this?
Oh
one?
yeah, we're gonna do the full effects.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we
Let's
should.
do it.
Okay, well, thank you for asking me this question. I just need to make it very clear that I am an insane horror junkie, and I just love anything scary, and I'm down for the gore stuff, and I love Halloween. So perfect. Okay, I'm gonna give you my I would say are the most scariest, and it makes you question things after you watch them of my list. So if you've never seen Sinister, add it to your list.
Sinister.
really good.
Sinister.
Not
okay.
Sinister 2, that one's just kind of sad. But Sinister 1, really good. The Strangers.
Oh yeah.
I
yeah.
love that one.
a
And
good one.
I'm sick where I like to watch it if I'm house sitting because I like to be that much more scared. Okay. And then if you haven't seen MIDSOMMAR, I would say that one's just that one's hard to watch at parts, and it's just really, really nuts.
What's
and
that one
then-
about? I'm not too
Yeah.
familiar with that.
That
one.
one's a newer one with Florence Pugh, and basically she goes to I'm gonna get it wrong. I want to say the Netherlands, but it's a place where basically it's where there's sun at all times of the day.
Oh,
Like
I
you don't
gotcha.
have a night. And she goes and ends up in this weird cult thing. I'm not even doing a good job, but just watch it.
That already
There's
sounds
just
good.
some weird
Yeah.
parts in it, and also
Yeah.
it's just shocking. I think a personal if I were to go into teen slasher, I would say if you haven't seen Jennifer's Body,
Oh,
go
I like
see
that
Jennifer's Body. It's supposed to be corny and like that, but yeah, I still stand by Sinister and Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And I want to give you guys one more, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
Oh,
but it's the creepiest, and I would say the best one is the one that has I think it's Jessica Biel.
Yeah, from the mid 2000s,
Yes,
right?
that
Yes.
mid 2000s one. That one's the best. They've made a lot of remakes. I've seen them all. That one is the best.
That
and
one
also,
messed me up.
Yes.
And there was a scene in there where the dude chops up the other guy's legs off and puts them on a meat hook, and then puts salt in his chopped off leg parts.
what?
Yeah,
To
so
save them.
yeah, I was like,
Oh,
oh my
no.
god, dude, that's awful.
Wait, is that the one where the guy has couches and stuff made out of like human skin, or is that a whole different movie?
Well, I don't know.
That is more so he's based off an actual, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy is actually based off of like a serial killer that did, I'm pretty sure it's Ed Gaines, and he did cut off people's faces and put them on his own face and stuff
That's
like
so
that.
Crazy.
And yeah.
Man.
So
spooky vibes.
yeah.
Spooky vibes.
What about you, Chris? What are your favorite?
My favorite
horror
ones?
movies?
Well, definitely that one messed me up. Jeepers Creepers, though.
Oh yeah.
And,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I watched it as a kid, but I mean, I'm sure even today it's probably the same. But the dude's face and the hat, and like just the fact that he's like, I don't know,
Yeah.
man. The scene that really got me in that movie is when Justin Long, he slides in through like the cave of where this beast is in, or where he habitates, and it's just full of skulls, and you can see like all the people that he killed, and it's just like literally a cave full of just skulls. Yeah, that shit messed me up for sure.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I gotta go with The Conjuring. Is that how you
Okay,
say
that's
it?
a good
Oh,
one.
okay.
That
Yeah.
one got me. I will say though, I was a little disappointed because being me, I had to research it and see like, is this really real? Like Ed
Yeah.
and Lorraine Warren. And I found like that there was like a lot of accusations that their stuff is fake. Some are arguing that it's real and all of this stuff. But just the movie was pretty scary, like the
Yeah.
pop-ups and stuff.
Yeah.
That one got me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I had to name a childhood one, it was It, the original one from the
Oh
90s.
yeah.
that's right.
Have you seen the
Yeah.
new one though?
Yeah, I can't say it was like scary. It was
Oh,
like
really?
not as scary as the first one. Maybe I don't know.
I was gonna say, I feel like the clown is scary, but we need to talk about the hate crimes going on in that town.
Oh
That's
yeah.
more scary than the clown. Okay.
true.
So I'm like, why are we worried about this? The police are worried about a clown when we should be taking care of the rest of the town right now.
Yeah.
So
Wait, in the original movie?
no, and like the newer
The newer
ones.
ones.
Oh, what was that?
with
I didn't
the
watch the
Stranger
newer
Kids
ones.
things.
What was
Yeah.
happening in there? That was
Oh, there's just like so many hate crimes going on in the movie.
Huh.
And it was like, I think it was like a scene in the beginning of the movie where I was like, we're worried about a clown that only comes around like every 100 years. We have stuff happening every day right now.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. Well, thank you, Lex, for joining us on this special episode, and thank you for sharing your favorite horror movies with us. If you guys have a chance, please like this video, comment what you guys think of the episode. But yeah, thank you again, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Peace.